In a tragic turn of events, Spain is grappling with the most devastating flooding disaster it has faced in generations. Dozens of people remain missing as emergency teams work around the clock in search and rescue missions across the hardest hit areas, particularly in the Valencia region. Over 200 people have lost their lives in this unprecedented disaster, and that number may still rise as the recovery efforts continue. The floods have left entire towns submerged, destroying bridges, flooding homes, and leaving communities cut off from essential services. Many people are without water, food, or electricity, and as the cleanup progresses, residents are expressing frustration and grief over the speed of the government's response. As we dive deeper into what happened, here's the timeline. While the worst of the storm has now passed over Valencia and other coastal areas, warnings remain in place across southern Spain. Cities like Cartaya have experienced staggering rainfall, receiving 2 months' worth in just 10 hours. Further south, in Jerez, hundreds of families were evacuated due to rapidly rising river levels, forcing many out of their homes. Emergency services, the military, and thousands of volunteers are tirelessly working to bring aid to these flooded regions. Despite these efforts, local communities are voicing concerns over the response time. Some believe the alert system failed them, as the emergency warning was only issued after the water had started rising, leaving residents in immediate danger. Maria, who lives near one of the most impacted areas in Valencia, noted that many residents were caught off guard, trapped in their vehicles as floodwaters rose. People were simply not prepared, she said, expressing the grief felt by many. Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez addressed the nation, praising the volunteers for their tireless dedication and vowing that the government would do whatever it takes to support those affected by the floods. As more troops are sent to assist, Sanchez has committed to long-term support for rebuilding the devastated communities. In towns like Paiporta, where the flood toll has been particularly tragic, frustration is mounting. Paco Clemente, a resident, spoke out about the lack of resources, noting the shortage of firefighters and equipment to help clear the overwhelming mud and debris from their homes. One of the contributing factors to the disaster has been this year's unusual weather patterns, with prolonged dry spells leaving the ground hard and unable to absorb water effectively. Experts are also pointing to climate change as a factor. According to a report from World Weather Attribution, a scientific group studying climate impacts, climate change likely intensified the rainfall, increasing it by an estimated 12%. The warming climate has also made extreme events like these twice as likely. This disaster has reignited discussions in Spain about the adequacy of disaster preparedness. The delay in warnings, combined with outdated infrastructure in flood-prone areas, is raising tough questions for local and national authorities. Residents hope that this tragedy serves as a wake-up call, pushing for stronger infrastructure, more efficient warning systems, and improved emergency response protocols. As the floodwaters recede, communities are left to confront the damage, but the spirit of solidarity remains strong. Neighbors, friends, and volunteers are coming together to clear debris and help each other rebuild, a reminder of the resilience that persists even amid such sorrow. This devastating flood is a harsh reminder of the growing climate crisis and its impacts on communities around the world. Our hearts go out to those affected, and as Spain recovers, we'll continue to follow these stories, hoping for better preparedness and action to prevent such tragedies in the future. This devastating flood is a harsh reminder of the growing climate crisis and its impacts on communities around the world. Our hearts go out to those affected, and as Spain recovers, we'll continue to follow these stories, hoping for better preparedness and action to prevent such tragedies in the future.